doing line scores too? What shall I do those?
Okay, you start her off, Rod.
All right, here we go. Well, good morning, everyone out in Cyberland that's joining us for the third day of competition here at the 2017 Canadian Men's and Women's Masters Championship, sponsored by High Grade Roofing Systems. And this morning we have 6 games on the ice as the round robin starts to proceed towards completion. And all the games on the ice here this morning are involving men's teams in the 2 pools. And we'll keep you apprised of how those scores are going right across the ice throughout the morning. Our feature game this morning, however, is here on Sheet 4 once again between Manitoba and Prince Edward Island on the men's side. So we are looking for a good game here this morning. And
Pink thing. Okay, that's code
the Prince Edward Island team has won the hammer here this morning, so Manitoba leading off with their first rock of the game. My name is Rod Stork, and it's my pleasure to provide some commentary here for you this morning. I'll be joined by Jerry Sunwald, and we'll carry you through the game and, as I mentioned earlier, keep you apprised of all the scores across the ice this morning. So these 2 teams that are on the ice this morning, on the men's side, Manitoba is currently at 1-2. And Prince Edward Island is 2-1. So a pretty critical game for Manitoba this morning to try and get their record back to 500 as we move through the round robin. There are 2 pools of 7 teams each on the men's side, so pretty important that keep that record above 500 as we move through the round robin. Much nicer day here in Guelph today. Approximately 5 degrees Celsius. No rain today, so we're expecting the ice to hold well for us here this morning as compared to yesterday when it was raining and the humidity got quite high in our building. So for Team Manitoba, skip is Mark Franklin, the third is Brent McCannell, the second is Darryl Gunnlaugson, and the lead is Terry Aseltine. For Prince Edward Island is skip Bill Hope, third Craig Mackie, the second David Murphy, and the lead Bill Doherty.
today.
On the men's side, in terms of leading records in Pool A, British Columbia is out front with a 4-0 record. They're off the ice this morning, getting a little bit of rest. And on the B pool side, Northern Ontario, skipped by Al Hackner, is leading with a 4-0 record, and they are on the ice this morning on sheet number 1 against Yukon Territory. The other games going across the board this morning, Alberta playing Quebec on ice 2. Of course, our feature game, Manitoba and Prince Edward Island. And on number 4, on 6 is Newfoundland and Labrador against host team Ontario, skipped by Jim Lyle. On sheet 7, we have Ontario versus Nova Scotia. On the men's side as well, Bruce Delaney versus Steve Ogden. And on sheet number 8, we have New Brunswick against Northwest Territories. Fairly clean end here taking place on our feature game between Manitoba and PEI. Not a real surprise, I don't think, that this first end is fairly clean. Boys just trying to get a feel for the ice after they did have practice, but just keeping that house open for the first end. Jerry Sunwald has joined me. Jerry, nice to have you aboard, and hope we have some good games out here this morning.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock in the morning on Ontario, and the boys probably need an end or two to wake up and get used to it. It's a nice morning this morning. It's a little cool and sunny outside. The ice looks really good this morning, and the teams look like they're ready to curl.
Again, just to apprise you of the rules of play, if you will, for the Masters curling. They're 8-in games. Teams each get 30 minutes of thinking time, as well as 2 90-second timeouts through the game for each team. Playing the four guard rule, so no rock in the free guard zone can be taken out until by the opposing team until the fifth rock being thrown.
There's a rock issue on 6. Yes. It didn't do what it was supposed to do.
So we have one Manitoba rock in play right on the center line, biting the forefoot. PEI is making a play on that rock. They'd like to hit it in those and stay. So now we have an opportunity for Manitoba to throw a draw. They're looking to place this one back at the top forefoot.
Brent McCannell, the third for Team Manitoba, throwing his first rock of the first end.
And it's a perfect draw, covering the pin. So that's 2 in a row we've had Rod throwing down that center line over curled. This one rolled over to the edge of the 12-foot and I think just hung on for a biter.
Just talking with some of the curlers again this morning, Jerry, after practice, and that consistent comment I think that we've seen all week. They were reflecting again this morning that if you get a rock started here on this ice in Guelph and started early, they're going to curl very hard, and it's sweepers will have to work hard to hold them in those cases.
And again, it's demonstrating that on the edge of the sheets, if they'll run really straight down there with a little bit of weight. So we've had Manitoba play that one on the edge and roll out. So this gives PEI an opportunity to test their draw weight, put one again the top forefoot.
Third for Prince Edward Island, Craig Mackie throwing his second rock here in the first end and getting a feel again for draw weight. So they should be in pretty good shape as we move through this end and look to the second end coming home.
Pretty quiet around here this morning, Rod. Not a lot of the fans got up for the 8 a.m. draw.
I'll tell you, Jerry, it was a shock to me to get up this morning to come to the 8 a.m. draw, and so I can imagine how some of the other folks are feeling this morning. There's a hit and roll by Manitoba skip Mark Franklin. Roll to the other side of the house again to give Prince Edward Island just a little bit of a different look with Bill Hope's first rock coming up. Lots of experience on this Prince Edward Island team, Jerry. Bill Hope has been at many events at a national level over the years, and his teammates also have a list of events that they've participated in at the national level, so lots of experience on this team. And anytime anyone comes out of Manitoba, you know it's going to be a tough go there, just because of the number of curlers that the province of Manitoba has at all levels. You know, Mark Franklin had to work hard to get out of the province to take part in the Masters here in Guelph.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. There's no lack of excellent curlers in the province of Manitoba. And we've got another hit and roll. We've hung on to the back 12 foot again. Skip of Manitoba is going to try to pick that one off, and that's probably all right this morning. Yesterday, last night it got really slow. Probably a lot of people on.
So it's Mark Franklin's last rock of the first end, a hit and roll out, so this is going to leave Bill Hope with a pass through with his last rock to blank the end and move on to the second end. Gives an opportunity for Bill just to see a particular line that he wants to throw on these rocks. Even when they're blanking the end, these curlers want to get a feel for what the rock's going to do on every throw that they have the opportunity to put a rock down.
So there's the end of the first end. Wide open end, well played, and they're just turning it around really quick, and we're ready to start the second end.
So as we kind of expected, Jerry, after that first fairly open end, Manitoba lead, Terry Aseltine was asked for a centerline guard. The rock fairly high out in the free guard zone, but it appears the boys now are going to enter into getting some rocks in play and going after it here in the second end.
Bill Hope's PIs ask her to come around, and it looks like a nice shot, nice weight. We got it top of the 4 foot. And we have a call to come down and freeze on top of that one. Looks a little bit heavy. It's hanging out, and they're going to bring it around that one. So it just bumps off, and sitting second shot. Bill Hope's asked for a takeout on the shot.
And a successful hit by Prince Edward Island. Those two red rocks now at the top of the house are slightly staggered, and certainly one is totally buried behind a long guard. Mark Franklin is going to want to move some of this granite around a little bit, I think, to keep things where he can manage the house without last rock in this end. Second for Manitoba, Darryl Gunnlaugson, with his first rock of the end, being asked to play a hit here. And this will be a test for Manitoba because of what we mentioned earlier, rock getting started early, and this one looks like it's going to over curl. Take off the long guard. Frees up the house for Manitoba in one way, but in another way, PI now sitting two in the house, and Bill Hope considering his options of how he wants to manage this house.
He has a couple of options on this one. He could draw to the side, but leaves that double in the middle. So he's playing for a tap split on it to try to spread out those rocks.
So a second David Murphy for Prince Edward Island with his first rock of the end. Boys working hard on this one to try to juggle these rocks around a little bit.
It was just a little bit lighter than he wanted. The line was really good, just needed about another 6 feet of weight to move him around. So we've got PEI line 3 at this point in time. There's a double opportunity here for Manitoba. Mr. Gunnlaugson. We had somebody else from Manitoba that we call the gunner that likes to throw a big weight.
And showing that with that last shot, making a double and saving his shooter, rolling over to the top 12. Now PEI will make a pass at this rock, and I suspect hopefully Bill Hope would want this right on the nose. Make a double a little bit more difficult for Manitoba. And we got a rock really curling here.
Yeah, it's curling hard.
Just enough to ease it out of the rings, but as I was sitting right behind the glass here, Jerry, watching that delivery from David Murphy, and he just got it started just a little bit as it came off his hand, and we saw the end result of that hard curl coming into the house. We know it's early in the morning for folks out across the Cyberland. If you're joining us and have a comment or a question, please let us know on live chat. We'll be glad to hear from you wherever you are across the country or listening in elsewhere.
Except they won't be able to find it because there's not a link on the website. I don't know, Eric didn't put them up there. Well, till yesterday, but hasn't got today's up there. So Doug's just sending a message to.
Oh, Jesus. Well, that's.
So we got a wide open house now, and we're starting all over again. Bill Hope has asked for a draw to the top 4 foot. And it's looking very much like another blank end, though. There's no rocks in play.
Just across the board as far as these 6 games out here this morning on the men's side, Jerry, on sheet number 1, Northern Ontario cracked a 2 in the first end against the Yukon Territory. On ice number 2, Quebec scored 1 and lead Alberta 1-0 in our game. Of course, 0-0 at this point. On ice number 6, host Team Ontario and Newfoundland Labrador. And Newfoundland Labrador, skipped by Gary Oak, cracked a 2 in the first. And on sheet number 7, Nova Scotia and Ontario. Bruce Delaney from Ontario hung a big 3 up in the first end against Nova Scotia, so up 3-0. And New Brunswick and the Northwest Territories, we have New Brunswick up 1-0 after one end of play.
So in our sheet, Manitoba tried to take out the one on the 8 foot at 10 o'clock or 12 foot at 10 o'clock, got it out a little wide and blew by it. So now PEI is drawing in for July 2.
If you go to like last night's YouTube page, then you can get the link from there.
Oh, really?
But you know,
that's not very
kind
good.
of a backdoor way to do
Yeah.
it. So I sent Eric an urgent message and said, please post the next couple of games. Dave Woods didn't do it, eh?
No, it was Eric.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it was Eric.
So he's doing the daily updates at 9. So I don't know whether he's on his computer now, but at least by 9 you'll see it. So you can continue talking to your one person out there.
Yeah, no, Eric's doing them. So.
Yeah, okay. Well, he'll get it up for the rest of the day. He might as well just post the rest of the game.
Oh, for sure. Well, you can only post
Oh, like
today
is
until
that right?
tomorrow morning, because then we redo the draw.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll have to set those up as soon as we get them.
But he could.
Oh, yeah.
So PEI was successful in splitting that house, Jerry, and 2 rocks that and no double available here for Manitoba, so having to play the outside one from Mark Franklin from Manitoba.
Yeah, they're just giving a little bit too much ice for this rock down there. It's firm weight, and it just doesn't curl out in the 12 foot with firm weight. So gives Bill Hope and PEI opportunity to draw and split the house.
We've watched this week, Jerry, and most of the teams do want to play that outside in hit on rocks that are out in the 8 foot and 12, but again, it's where you place that broom that determines whether you keep that shooter around or, and in fact, a number of times we've seen during the week so far a flash as the rock just, as you mentioned earlier, straightens right up.
Yeah, they should be knowing the ice pretty well. It's pretty consistent across all sheets, so they should have figured that out by now. So Bill's trying to draw here. The sweepers are working very hard to bring it down. It looks pretty good. I think they should be able to carry it in. They're working hard. Just comes up about 2 feet short. So again, we're back to the blank end scenario.
Ebb and flow of the game in this end has been pretty classic. There's been that chance for 2, and then suddenly we're looking like we are going to go to a blank end again.
Well, as you mentioned yesterday, Rod, we've had this all week. It seems like the team has an opportunity, gives it back to the other team. They're trading back and forth opportunities.
Heard a couple of the curlers say, yep, we managed to donate that end to the other team. So they recognize their issues that they have. So we got Mark Franklin with his last rock here, throwing an in-turn hit on the outside in shot. Looks like this one's coming right to the nose, and a very clean throw from Mark Franklin.
Yeah, nice throw. So Bill Hope's down there getting ready to throw. He'd like to hit and roll out on this one, blank this end, and carry the hammer into 3. They're watching it closely. Looks like it's a good shot.
A very nice shot by Bill Hope. Hit and roll out very cleanly, and good and solid delivery by Bill on that last rock. So the boys are moving the game right along, Jerry. A lead for Manitoba. Terry Aseltine is ready in the hack again, so gung-ho to go this morning. So once again, Manitoba looking to keep the game fairly straightforward and open with a draw, call for a draw into the top of the house on the center line.
You playing?
What's he going in to play for?
So that one's just short of the rings. Bill Hope, PEI, has called for a corner guard.
A good shot by Bill Doherty, putting that corner guard up, just covering the outside edge of the 8-foot circle. We'll give PEI something to work with, depending on Manitoba's next shot here from second, Darryl Gunnlaugson.
So trying a little top up here on the rock in the center line. This one's a little light and over curling, so we've got opportunities here. But Bill Hope from PEI is playing it really conservative. He's peeling off those guards. He doesn't like them at all. So we're continuing a real conservative game. Nobody's going for it, Rod.
No, none. Boys not wanting to really mix it right now. Peeled off the top yellow, still leaving that second yellow rock just off the center line, not on the rings, but. And again, Team Manitoba, Skip Mark Franklin asking for a tap from Darryl Gunnlaugson on that center line yellow.
They got a nice weight on that one. Just needed to curl a little bit more. This one's wide open. Opportunity for PEI to hit and roll behind the center guard.
David Murphy for Team PEI with his second rock of the end. This one ran a little bit straighter, so the boys took it all the way and rolled away from the center line guards, Jerry. So they, again, making it a little more difficult for Manitoba to bury anything. They can't really leave that red rock there, but they'll make a run at getting this with some roll and maybe using that yellow center guard.
He's got really narrow ice. He's asking for up weight, so give himself an opportunity. He's curling. Oh, it's a really nice hit and roll. It might have rolled a hair too far, but it's still partially behind that center guard.
Very nice weight by Brent McCannell, third for Manitoba. Probably about the width of a rock, Jerry, that it rolled into the open. So it gives PEI a chance to make a play at this and maybe get a roll of their own behind that corner guard that Bill Hope called for earlier in the end. Third, Craig Mackie for Prince Edward Island, and the boys are on that right away.
He came out a little tight on this one, and it's they're going to have to work hard to get it by. They're holding it. Just squeaked it by.
Great sweeping job by the front end of PEI to hold that rock. Remains right in the open, however, so Brent McCannell will have another chance to play a hit and a little flop to the inside. I think he'll want to go here and again utilize Manitoba's yellow center line guard.
Little bit more weight. This is running straight, and it's got a little flop behind the corner guard.
Bill Hope indicating, or Craig Mackie indicating to Bill that he can see about half that rock, so Bill will try to ice him accordingly to play a tap through on that yellow rock.
Quite a bit of weight in this one. They're watching this all the way down. It needs to curl quite a bit just to get by that front guard. Tried to play the last minute tick, but just flashed through everything. So now we have an opportunity for Manitoba. We have a center guard, and I imagine they'll play around that center guard, the top 4 foot.
A note on ice number 1, Jerry, that Northern Ontario and Yukon are tied after 2 ends. Yukon got 2 points in the second end, so all tied up 2-2 over there.
I think that's the first for Northern Ontario this week that somebody has scored a 2-point.
I think you're right.
Two-ender on them.
Al Hackner and his crew have not been kind to teams when it comes to multiple scores, that's for sure. So we have Mark Franklin in the hack here for Manitoba, and Jerry, you were bang on in terms of what they're going to do. They considered putting a guard up on the one on the outside wing, but now they're looking to go around that center line guard and put pressure on Bill Hope in this third end.
Yeah, I think this is a really good call. They've thrown a few rocks down here. They should know the speed now in the third end, and gives them a real opportunity if they can put this in the right spot. The curlers are brushing this on the way down. It's coming around the guard nicely, and it looks like it's an excellent shot.
Very good weight by Mark Franklin, and from my vantage point, Jerry, behind the glass, it looks like about half that rock is exposed to Bill Hope, but sitting on that center line. So this is that tough area where you want to have a really clean delivery on a rock here. If it gets started early, we know what the end result will be.
So Manitoba is biting the top 4 foot right now. As Rod said, the rock is half buried. Looks like he's going to play a normal hit on this one and hopefully hang on the side.
Boys are going to have to go hard on this one to get it by that top guard. And they're not able to get it by there. Bill's shot rolls over to the 12 foot, but they tap the other yellow into the rings as well, and I believe are sitting 3 at this point in time.
Yeah, it's clearly 3. It's just a little bit down weight for that shot. It's probably backline to hack because he didn't take the yellow rock out of the rings at all. So a big opportunity for Manitoba here. They're going to throw a rock, probably a tight guard or maybe even biting the 12 foot to protect that rock, and they have excellent opportunity to score and steal one to get on the board for the first time in this game.
Noticing on sheet 6, Jerry, as Mark Franklin gets into the hack to throw. Sheet 6, host team Ontario versus Newfoundland Labrador, and Gary Oak and his boys from the Rock stole 2 in the second end and have now gone ahead of Jim Lyle by a score of 4-0.
So they're watching this one come down the ring. Looks like it's a little bit heavy for a guard. It's going to freeze, which could give Bill Hope an opportunity to double and score 1. At the present time, Manitoba's lane 4.
Real decision time here for Bill. He can, I think, play the double. He'll need a little bit of a roll if he does that in order to get shot rock, which would that would be one piece he can do, and that's what it looks like he's going to try here. There's really no easy draw for him to try and score here or reduce the potential that Manitoba has sitting in the house. So it looks like he's going to try the double, and I'm sure hoping a little bit of a roll to get shot rock.
Yeah, his forfeit is cut off really on both sides for the draw, and he needs full forfeit in order to score. So this is probably his best opportunity.
So here comes Bill Hope's last rock of the third end. Big shot for the PEI team.
It's running on him.
And there's the first big break in the game here in the third end. Bill took out the top yellow, but his shooter rolled, and I believe Manitoba stole 3.
We're having a close look at this one.
And there's an example again, Jerry, where I speculate on what the score is and don't let the boys sort it out themselves. They may have to go for a measure here.
Yeah,
so
they're going for the measuring stick. While we're waiting for that measure, we look over in sheet 8 and we see our first alternate in for the week. Newfoundland Labrador has had one of their players come out and Walter Johnson has come in from the spare pool. They'll do well with Walter playing third. He's a lifetime curler. Been to the national championships, all-star third at the national championships, many provincial championships.
And just to carry that on, Jerry, we at this competition, we have a pool of both men and women to draw from who had the opportunity on Sunday to practice, throw rocks, and get a feel for the ice. So we do have those pools available if someone is injured or ill or whatever the case may be. So first one today with Walter on board. So the measure's been completed. We'll see in a moment here what score goes up. And indeed, it is a three-ender for Mark Franklin and his team from Manitoba. So a big end without hammer for Manitoba. And now Bill Hope and his team from Prince Edward Island are going to have to try and claw their way back after giving up that three-ender. Note on sheet number 7 that in the second end, Nova Scotia took one after giving up a 3 in the first end to Ontario. So it's now 3-1 for Ontario over Nova Scotia playing the third end. So we'll see how Bill and his crew play this end. Certainly they'll want to try and get a 2 back in this end to narrow the score. And so in order to try and start that process, Bill's called for a corner guard after Manitoba placed a center line guard very tight to the top of the house. And Mark Franklin asking for his lead, Terry Aseltine, to draw around that yellow center line guard and look for the top of the 4 foot, we presume, where he'd really like that rock to be. Just another update on sheet 1. Yukon Territory stole one in the third end against Northern Ontario and Al Hackner, so they now lead Northern Ontario 3-2 after 3 ends.
And a nice draw for Manitoba. Established center guard, drew around it to the back 4 foot now. Bill Hope from PEI is called for his lead to freeze on top of that one. A little bit wide on the release.
Jerry, I can identify with that type of throw. We got another left-hander here this morning, so when I see that one, I just say, oh, there's one of the ones that I do quite often. It's just flared out a little bit, and it'll run straight.
And the weight was really nice, but on the line, just a little tap back freeze.
Yep.
Now Manitoba is putting some more pressure on. Tight guard into the top 12 foot to protect that rock in the 4 foot.
So Darryl Gunnlauson's first rock here in the second end. Boys working hard on this to, 1, hold the line for a guard, and number 2, to make sure they get it as far down as they can to provide as much protection as they can on that yellow rock, and they have done so.
It's a long guard, but accomplishes the objective, forces Bill Hope to open up the front.
Over on sheet 8, after 3 ends of play, it's New Brunswick leading the Northwest Territories by a score of 2-1 after 3 ends. Very, very nice hit and roll. Yellow didn't go entirely out, but Bill rolled the one yellow underneath that corner guard that he threw originally. So some potential here for PEI at this point. Mark Franklin calling once again for his second, Darryl Gunnlaugson, to put a guard back on the center line. Entirely out, but Bill rolled the one yellow underneath that corner guard that he threw originally, so some potential here for PEI at this point. Mark Franklin calling. Good line on this this guard from Darryl, and I think Manitoba certainly will be, they'll be happy with that shot. That's far enough out from the house that it's definitely a problem for Bill. He can't go around it and get to the yellow in the 4-foot, so I believe he's going to have to, again, peel this off and roll his shooter away. Just a further update on sheet number 2, Quebec against Alberta, and a lot of rocks in play in the third end, but out of all of that, 1 point for Quebec, so they lead Alberta 2-1 after 3 ends. Here's a peel by Bill Hope's team. David Murphy successfully peeling off that guard, so Manitoba will be looking to replace the guard again on their rock that's just behind the tee line, but fully in the 4-foot circle. The Manitoba boys curl out of the Granite Curling Club in Winnipeg, and the PEI boys curl out of the Cornwall Charlottetown Curling Club. Again, a very good guard by Manitoba, and Bill is going to have to peel that once again. Those guards are never easy, and Manitoba has been very good. That's four in a row now that they've put those rocks in pretty well a perfect position. Bill now is asking his third, Craig Mackie, to try a double here and peel off both guards that give him a little bit more room if this is successful. Boys are working hard on this one. This might have over-curled again. Oh, and a long run back, and they took the yellow rock out.
Plan B comes into effect, Rod?
Plan B definitely came into effect there, and Bill kind of acknowledged that fact to skip Mark Franklin, and so that's all works out in the game. We all say, as golfers or curlers, Jerry, that those kind of things all balance out. A lip out in putting and golf, or a Plan B shot in curling. I'm not a firm believer in that because I think it adds up against me more than it does the other way. But
so an opportunity for Manitoba. They still have their center guard. They're playing the draw around the center guard. They're working hard to get it by. I think they got lots of weight here, so. And it's a great stone.
Brent McCannell for Manitoba has had pretty good draw weight early in this game. So this rock is probably 3/4 buried, just at the top of the button. Bill's going to make a pass at it. There is a potential here for a jam, and that's something they'll need to keep an eye on. Craig Mackie throwing his second rock of the end. The boys got it early and kind of held it there. Clears the guard.
And as you called it, that was very difficult. It was set up for the jam, and he had to get it really thin to miss the top or I'm not sure he could get it thick enough to get it by that rock.
It's going to be very difficult, and when the boys hit it early, that's the one thing, Jerry, that I think I'm a little surprised that the teams don't hit those rocks just a little earlier. They can hold them a little bit, and then at the end let them break.
Yeah.
And that was a good example there. They held that one out, and then it curled as it came into the house. But the jam was always kind of on the go, and Bill's got an opportunity there, but with one at the back. But now Mark Franklin can hit this red on the edge of the forefoot and also potentially get a roll behind, again, two guards that are out front. Sweeping this rock in. Line looks pretty good on this one. And indeed, very nice shot by Mark Franklin. Hit and roll to the side of the button. And this rock, can't see it entirely, but I think is almost fully buried. So more pressure here on Bill Hope in this fourth end. Looking at, I believe, 2. But the one on the forefoot is the one that's obviously the most concern for Bill at this point. Looking over at sheet number 6, and an update on score. The host team, Ontario, skipped by Jim Lyle, came back in the third end with a big 3, so are now down 4-3 to Gary Oak and his team from Newfoundland, Labrador.
You're working this rock hard, try to get it by.
Very nice shot by Bill Hope. Just tapped that yellow to the back of the forefoot, and now Bill Lye's shot at top of the button. And again, this is going to be a difficult one for Mark Franklin to totally remove because the jam possibility is going to be in here again. So he may want to do something different here than to try and play that red one.
I think he can tap it back enough to probably get shot rock. He certainly can't remove it. They're looking to just coming down the top. They're maybe going to give him one. And
almost concede the one, Jerry, is what it looks like they're looking to do here, the way Brent McCannell tapped his broom for Mark as he went down the ice. So we'll see what the end result is.
Well, giving them one, it'd be a 3-1 lead after 4 ends of play. Give them hammer in the 5th end. They still have good control.
And that's one point. And you sometimes just bite the bullet on those things, Jerry, and say, better to 1 I can live with, but a potential for 2 or more, that's never a good thing. So. And indeed, that was the play by Manitoba, and so Mark Franklin's rock came into the top of the 12. Really doesn't give Bill anything now on that right-hand side as we look at the rings from behind the glass. He's going to have to play a draw from the out-turn side for a right-hander to try and get a piece of the forefoot for his 2.
Now that guard out there is a long guard, so if he's got the correct weight, comes close to the guard, he can get to the forefoot. And that second shot isn't in the forefoot at all. So just a little bite of the forefoot, give him 2.
Boys working on this one.
And they've cleared the guard. Looks like it might be a little bit heavy. No, it's working hard. It's trying. Oh, it's... I don't know. It's very close. It was a good throw.
Excellent throw by Bill Hope, but the boys are going to be looking at this one, and we may have another measure, Jerry, on this. This is very close as we look at the overhead camera.
This is Nigel from Untitled Chapter. Nice to meet you. Yes. Welcome to Guelph Curling Club.
Yeah, thank you. Good to be here. So I expect to learn everything in the next 2 days. So.
Jerry's our chair in charge of officiating.
So indeed, we are going to have another measure here in the fourth end. PEI has one on the board, but we're measuring now to see if there's a second point there.
We did it once for our juniors. Christmas time. I don't know whether we got full-blown stuff.
And we've once the measure is completed, we've reached the halfway point of our game, and there'll be a short break, and we'll be back with you following a 5-minute break for the teams. Get a sense of the measure here, and we'll update you. So indicated by Brent McCannell, and in fact it was only one. So a fine draw by Bill Hope, but just a bit heavy, and so 1 point for Prince Edward Island, and that brings the score to 3-1 after 4 ends of play. Manitoba leading Prince Edward Island. So we have a short break here. We'll join you in a couple minutes.
So it's not TSN standard. Yeah, so. I'll get you the fifth. How's that? It's pretty good. This is
Nigel, how are you? Pleasure to meet you. Welcome.
Rod is
Thank you.
my co-chair.
Yes, I know. I so roll it.
Know his name.
And he's an expert announcer too, are you?
Oh, not really an expert announcer.
You know what the hell's going on, so you can explain to people.
This gentleman, he has the strategy piece. I just
Oh, okay.
matter and have it.
Well, you got to have that interaction, right?
Well, actually, it works pretty good. We had one game, I think, where we had one, and it's tough to, without getting a lot of stuff on it, try not to do too much. Anyway, it's been good.
That's what I like. Some announcers, like, they never shut up. My wife and I used to watch a lot of tennis.
Oh, yes.
And you listen to those McCannell, and they never shut up. My wife keeps saying, they just shut up, and then she says, and then sometimes we get the Canadian feed where there's basically no talking.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to just kind of watch the game. You can overdo it a little bit.
Yeah, just a little.
So curling commentary. Sure.
What happened in the fourth end?
They got one.
Yeah, that's fine.
PEI got one.
PI, thank you.
Yeah, they had to do a measure.
Who's they?
Manitoba is up 3-1.
Hold on. PI took one in the fourth end?
Yes.
Is PI not winning 4-0? Manitoba's throwing yellow. So I've got the score backwards.
Yeah, their colors on there are backwards. On here.
Oh, I've had it backwards the entire game.
All of them are backwards on here.
PEI is red. Which means this score needs to switch to blue. Three. There we go. I had one correct, just the teams backwards.
It's all right.
So I looked down and I was like, please tell me I got everybody right. So we've corrected that. We're good now. I match you.
And the other ones are all right too?
far.
Not reversed?
No, yeah, because I stood there for a long time making sure that I was doing it right.
Laura was going, can we change the colors here? I said, no, we can't.
Never mind that, y'all need bigger scoreboards. It's real hard to see from this end. For the longest time, I was standing at 2 going, anybody know what the score is? No? Anybody know what the score is? No?
The score.
I have one and an arm in the way.
Oh,
the guy stood there like this
okay.
the entire time.
So we're back with you as we start up again our feature game and end number 5.
Well, that was an excellent draw by Bill Hope on the last one. It's a half an inch lighter or curls a half an inch more. He has a really good 2.
And it would have been a really well-earned 2 given how that end had gone because Bill was chasing for much of the end. So good try all around. Once again, on the board now, so it's always good to get a point there. You're looking for 2, but having 1 and now needing to steal.
It was almost a skip's deuce. He was
absolutely
working hard to do that.
Just updating some scores across the board. New Brunswick is leading Northwest Territories by a score of 3-1 after 4 innings of play. Nova Scotia has come back and stole 2 in the 3rd end against Bruce Delaney, and so they're now tied up, Ontario and Nova Scotia 3-3 as they play the 4th. Al Hackner cracked a big 3 in the 4th end, so Northern Ontario now is ahead of the Yukon by a score of 5-3.
But it's still, it's still not close to where.
So Bill attempted to draw around both center guards. They're a little light, so now Manitoba is playing a hit on the rock of the top 12 foot.
Good sweeping by the Manitoba team there on that hit by Terry Aseltine, and so successfully removed the red rock, and now there are two Manitoba stones bisected by a red PEI rock, all near the top or just outside the rings. So PEI is going to have to deal with one of those yellow rocks now, it appears. Bill asking David Murphy to play a hit on that stone just thrown by Manitoba.
Boys are working on this. They got it by, and it's hit it nicely. Unfortunately, it didn't have enough weight, so we have Manitoba line 2, and that shot is pretty much buried, I think, Rod.
Yeah, I'm just off the center line looking down the ice at that one, and there's maybe a quarter of a rock there, Jerry, at the very most that is available. So
Manitoba are deciding they could either draw around and put pressure on them, or their team, he's indicated he wants to peel off this front. Now I think we have the second for Manitoba here. Manitoba curlers are known for their sliding devices. We've seen brooms wrapped in different colored duct tape and straw. Mr. Gunnlaugson just has the head of a broom with a piece of Teflon on it that he uses for sliding.
I noticed that this morning, Jerry. I hadn't seen it earlier in the week, and just noticed it this morning. And just a very, only about 8 inches long, and a piece of Teflon, as you say. And he slides out, of course, in that Manitoba tuck that the province is famous for, and we continue to see. So the peel on the guard took the one off. Bill's now looking to potentially tap out that second yellow rock that's on the top of the 12-foot. Asking David Murphy to play it through.
He's just called for, back line to hack weight and looking to tap it through and roll over to the left-hand side of the rings in the 3 o'clock position. And again, this one's over curling badly. And tip off the front, tap that one in to the 4-foot. So both Manitoba rocks are open, but they're both biting the 4-foot. Manitoba Skip doesn't like those rocks out front, and he's still looking to peel off the red rocks. Going for a hit on this corner guard and roll into the rings.
So, Jerry, here's an indication. This is one of the first times I've seen this outside in hit with firm weight, and they've broomed the right on the center of the rock. And that's something we've talked about earlier, that maybe we would expect more of that from the curlers with that firm hit weight. And that shot was successfully made. There really wasn't much question about it from a line standpoint. Right on the rock and play it straight through.
Curled about an inch.
Yeah, about that.
Rolled over and covered the rock biting the 4-foot. Now Bill Hope is calling for a out-turn hit down the center line, trying to roll behind the center guard. Again, this one looks a little bit heavy, a little bit wide. He's going to not clear that front one and tap the red one. He does roll the 2 red ones in the house. Unfortunately, they're 3rd and 4th shot. So Manitoba has an opportunity here to guard their rock in the house. We're down to 3rd rocks at this point in time.
Yeah, Brent McCannell, the 3rd for Manitoba. Ready to throw his first rock.
He's called for a tap back on the one at the top 12-foot at about 11 o'clock, and the line looks real good.
Good weight on that rock. Unfortunately, it tapped the yellow back on an angle that now is slightly opened up the back shot on the 4-foot. So Bill has an opportunity here to lock a rock on there and at least for the time being take this end away a little bit from Manitoba. So Craig Mackie throwing his second rock of the end, trying to lock one in there to
minimize the damage, if you will.
They're sweeping this rock hard to get it by. The weight looks really good.
Chopped it back about a foot, so PEI, I believe, is second shot. The yellow rock over on the left might be shot. It's close again, so they might be into measures again, Jerry, if this all plays out.
But the Manitoba rock on the left-hand side is definitely shot. Second shot is definitely in question.
Just an update on sheet number 6. Host team Ontario stole one in the 6th end, and now that game between Newfoundland and Labrador and host Ontario tied 4-4.
So it was a nice attempt at a hit in that one. Unfortunately, it jammed on the back yellow one, so definitely PEI is now lane 1.
Might be an example, Jerry, in this end. I know Manitoba's been really wrestling as to where they put a rock over the last couple of shots, and I think it comes down to you have too many rocks around. Just where do you place it so it doesn't cause you a problem on?
Well, I was a little surprised on that call of Manitoba's when he played the tap back, because the shot rock was totally covered. We had another shot rock biting the forefoot on the other side. I would have thought maybe he would play the cover on that one, or cut off the draw on that side, but they applied the tap, didn't work out quite right, and gave an opportunity right back to PEI.
Absolutely. As we said yesterday, one of the games we did yesterday on our coverage, as you watch the game, it's one of the marvelous things about the game of curling that there's always options and there's always different forms of strategy that can be considered, and not one is always perfect, but ultimately you make a decision and you live with it. As they say, that one red rock down there right now is kind of lonely, so got to be careful. Again, Manitoba has the hammer in this end, so some potential for a big score. Notice on sheet number 7, Bruce Delaney versus Steve Ogden, Nova Scotia and Ontario, and Bruce Delaney took one in the 4th end, so after 4, Ontario leads Nova Scotia 4-3.
Well, that rock ended up just across the center line, cornered on the yellow rock. So Manitoba's looking at their options.
Probably looking to peel these top 2 guards. That'll expose that red rock at the back if they're successful, and again, bring the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th shots more into play when Bill comes to throw his last rock.
They have an opportunity down there for a thin double off their own rock.
That's correct.
But it's a pretty thin double, so it'd be a difficult shot. So he's chosen to open up the front. He can peel all these away, and then it'll be up to Bill Hope of PEI to protect his rock again.
So Mark Franklin's first rock of the end, and the boys are working on this one early. Again, maybe an indication it was a little tight on the release, but working hard. Did open up the top 2. So we are in a position now, Jerry, where that red rock down there partially covered, but Bill will have an opportunity here to actually cap this thing, and Mark Franklin will be looking at a difficult shot on his last rock.
Well, even if he comes right in the house and freezes on top, it'll be very difficult for Manitoba to remove both zones.
And we see Craig Mackie, the 3rd for Prince Edward Island, tapping the broom there to the sweepers as Bill comes down, and it looks like that's what they're indeed going to try to do here. An ebb and flow end again, Jerry, back and forth with good shots here in this end, but some certainly opportunities both ways.
Well, I think it's some questionable strategy calls. I think that's really opened the door, because Manitoba clearly had control. There's strategy and there's execution.
All the combination of the two, Jerry. Absolutely correct. Boys just dusting this shot down there. The line looks excellent. And a really good shot by Bill Hope. There's a possible double there for Manitoba, but
gee, I'm not sure it's even there, Rod.
it's probably pretty tight.
That top one's overburied, and the angles aren't real good for the double.
So we saw Bill Hope with an excellent draw in the fourth end that he just missed on for his second point, and here he is in the fifth end now throwing another excellent draw. So he's obviously got a good feel for the ice here this morning.
So I think their opportunity is to play a double off their own rock and perhaps hold them to one. They might be able to double that out with a really good shot, but they'll have to have a big weight shot.
As Manitoba's considering their options there, just looking over at sheet one, and Al Hackner and his team from Northern Ontario have taken control of that game against the Yukon. They stole another 3 points in the fifth end to go ahead 8-3 over the Yukon. So Al and his team are well on their way to being 5-0 after this morning's draw.
Looks like just a little bit of slow starters early in the morning. Once 9 o'clock came, they got back into their game and away they went. But we've got some real battles on the rest of the sheets over here. Nobody's running away with any games on for the rest of the games.
Yeah, Northwest Territories and New Brunswick over on sheet number 8, and that score there is 3-2 after 5 ends for New Brunswick. So, as you say, Jerry, very close game. Bruce Delaney and Stephen Ogden, very close game on number 7, Nova Scotia and Ontario, as well as host Ontario and Newfoundland Labrador in a close game. So some real good matches going on. Just noted the score on ice number 2 between Quebec and Alberta, and Quebec scored 1 in number 5, and they're ahead of Alberta 3-2.
So here's our shot. That thin double I called on earlier, he's playing this one. They know this line. They threw it earlier. Gunnlaugson threw it down here. So they're trying to come in off their own and score. This one looks like it's hanging out. Good effort, but it's clearly a steal of 2 for Prince Edward Island.
So a big turnaround for Bill Hope in that end, and now brings the score back to level, 3-3 between Prince Edward Island and Manitoba.
Well, Bill Hope's draw weight has come to serve him really well at this point in time, and
certainly, I think, Jerry, what we've seen so far this morning on the ice, a little cooler here in Guelph today, less humidity. The rocks appear to be sliding much better than they were yesterday, so you know the curlers like that kind of thing when it takes place.
So Bill Hope from PEI has asked for a center guard. He's tied this game up, but Manitoba still retains control with last rock in the 6th end.
So Bill Hope put up a center line guard, first rock of the end. And now Mark Franklin is asking his lead, Terry Aseltine, to play around that center line guard and bring the rock into the house on the center line top 4 foot. This rock is sliding a little more than maybe they would have wanted, but not a bad shot. Not a bad shot at all. just behind the tee line, but we'll give Bill the opportunity to come down here and freeze on top of that yellow rock and make the scoring area much smaller, albeit very early in the end. So we have Bill Doherty with his second rock in this first end, trying to come down and freeze. Boys are sweeping pretty hard on this one. By the guard, but over curled just a little, however, is pretty well now behind that red guard and is sitting shot rock for PEI. So we're seeing some offense here in this end, Jerry, as the boys go after it now.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of the center guard and their feel for draw weight, and this one looks a little bit heavy running down here. Actually, the weight was real good. It's just a little bit wide, didn't curl quite as much.
Yeah.
So PEI is still line one. Bill Hope has asked for another draw on top of that one at the that's biting the button, a second shot. We'll take a speed in the ice and see how the ice is holding up here. That was definitely a little tight in that throw. Over the top, it's curling hard early. Yeah. And crashed open up in the front guard. So it looks like Manitoba skip Franklin is asking for just a board weight hit and roll on top of his the yellow one, or off his yellow one onto the red one, move that over.
Boys hit this rock early, and again, that's sometimes an indication that got it started just a little. Working very hard on this one to hold it, and it looks like another hit on the top guard. So
yeah, it
ice
looks
is
like
holding up the same way we've seen it all week, Jerry. That little start.
Yeah, he just turned it over a little bit, and they jumped on that one immediately. Tried to hold it. Looked like they get it by. So now we have another opportunity for PEI to draw in there. Manitoba maybe have played that a little too close to the vest to make that happen. Just a draw shot in there. They could have come around, tapped it back, and sit, but they played for the takeout. So again, this one's curling really hard.
Yeah, this one is has crossed that center line early, and the weight wasn't too bad, but the sweepers basically got off it after a bit as they knew it was going to over curl and let it slide a little bit more away from that center line. Just updating on sheet number 6 after 5 ends of play. We have Newfoundland and Labrador Gary Oak took one in the 5th end, so they've gone ahead of host team Ontario and Jim Lyle by a score of 5-4.
So he got fully out to the broom that time. Looks like a little bit more weight. And he executed it perfectly. That's just what Franklin called. So now Manitoba's line 3, all around the forefoot. 2 rocks are cornered. with a couple of red rocks out front. So Bill Hope is calling for a double raise off the rocks in the front, back onto the yellow rocks in the 4-foot. So he hits about 3/4 of this corner guard. He should be able to come close to executing the shot. And he threw that a little tight again. The boys are working on it hard to try to hold it, but I think it's going to overcurl.
Oh, big time shot. Boy, those sweepers held that rock really well,
They
Jerry.
certainly did.
I was right behind the release on that rock, and you were absolutely correct. That rock was tight to start with, but double raise, double
raise,
takeout.
Double raise, double takeout. And he's setting shot rock in the top of the 4-foot with the yellow rock behind it.
Excellent shot by Craig Mackie. So Brent McCannell being asked to play that rock through. Again, there's jam potential here, but certainly Mark Franklin can't leave that PEI rock there. He has to make a play on it.
Yeah, he needed to cross that one in order to take it out cleanly. So now another opportunity for Team PEI. See what the skip calls here. There's an opportunity for a hit and roll behind the center guard. And that's exactly what he called.
Update on sheet number 8 after 5 ends of play. New Brunswick continues to lead Northwest Territories by a score of 3-2. Close game over there on 8. Boys are going hard on this one.
Well, didn't get the roll behind the center guard, but did get a roll behind the corner guard. So PEI is line 3 at this point in time.
So where we are in this end, Jerry, very unlikely there will be a blank end here. So we'll be playing now to Manitoba still has that opportunity. And no matter how the house looks, they'll still have an opportunity to get a deuce, but it'll be a little harder to pull off at this point.
So they're playing their run double at this point in time, hoping to make that and roll into the 12-foot.
Sorry, Jerry, go ahead.
So they successfully made that takeout in the top and rolled over to the side, but they're line 3rd shot. PEI still a line 2 and have an opportunity to put a 3rd rock in the house. So he's calling for one top 12-foot, guarding his rock in the back 8-foot.
So Bill Hope's first rock of the 6th end. This is a very similar line, Jerry, to what Bill played in the 4th end when he was trying to draw the 4-foot, so he should know this path fairly well.
Absolutely.
Weight come off here, and this one's going to over curl on him. The boys worked hard on this, but that little bit lighter weight.
Yeah, it was just right out of his hand.
Yeah. So Mark can get to this. We know it'll curl here. It's just which turn he decides he wants to play, and he's going to play that out turn draw as well. So Yukon territory in the sixth end counted 1 against Al Hackner, so that score now going to the seventh is 8-4 for Northern Ontario. Bruce Delaney is ahead of Nova Scotia and Steve Ogden by a score of 5-4 after 5 ends of play or 5-3 I should say, after 5 ends of play as they play 6.
And here comes the draw on our sheet. It's well thrown. The sweepers are on it early. The line looks good if they can get it there.
Great line on that shot, Jerry. Just came up a bit light, and the boys worked on that rock all the way down, but about 10 inches short of where Mark would have preferred.
So I think PEI is line 1 at this point in time. It's close for second shot, but it looks like Manitoba is second shot. Here's the draw attempt from Bill Hope. The sweepers are on it early. The weight looks pretty good, Rod. Needs to curl a little bit.
A little bit of curl needed here, but the boys now are giving it that extra push. And pretty well, I think, where they tapped the broom. They wanted to cut off that draw for Mark Franklin, and that in turn. So Mark will have a potential tap here on the first rock that he threw to bump it to the 4 foot. He can see about half that rock, Jerry, and
yeah, he just threw the shot, so just a little bit more weight. Needs about another 6 feet of weight to tap that up about a foot and get shot rock to take the lead back after 6 ends of play. So
here comes Mark Franklin's last rock here in the 6th end. Boys get on that rock early. Once again, the line looks pretty good on this shot. Again, it'll be strictly a weight thing as he got enough to bump it that 8 to 10 inches that he needs to get shot rock. Boys continue to work hard on it. And indeed, Mark Franklin is successful with the little tap raise for a single point. And a score of 4-3 for Manitoba after 6 full ends of play. Updating on sheet 2, after 6, Quebec stole in the 6th, 1 point against Alberta. So they've now gone ahead of Alberta 5-3. I'm sorry, not 5-3, 4-2. 4-2. Quebec is ahead of Alberta after 6 ends of play. And another update on sheet 8. New Brunswick scored 1 in the 6th end, and they've gone ahead of the Northwest Territories by a score of 4-2. So Manitoba's first rock was called into the house, and it's at the top of the 8, just off the center line, and PEI is going to remove that rock.
Well, again, the strategy will be I think PEI will try to blank this end and retain the hammer for the 8th end coming home. Try to score 2 at that point in time. Looks like Manitoba's going to cooperate and play the hit as well.
That'll mean we'll have one of those real quick time banking ends, Jerry.
That's right.
So good hit weight from Terry Aseltine, driving that red rock through. Leads many cases now with 4-guard rule. Don't get to play hits too often, Jerry, so when they do, their eyes light up a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. So we have lefty throwing this one down the center line. Nice normal takeout weight. Sweepers are cleaning it right to the stone.
So we've had the odd miss this morning, Jerry, on this feature game, but I've been impressed with overall the shot making in this morning's game, and I think that's partly to do with the fact that the ice is a little crisper today and just throwing better for the players and so on. So hopefully we can keep that through the remainder of the draws today.
Well, I think we'll be good today. It's tomorrow we have to worry about. We're having monsoon rains coming in overnight, so who knows what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, point well taken. And we have a very busy day here tomorrow again as we continue with 3 full draws tomorrow as well. 4 draws tomorrow. Thank you. So we're doing 4 tomorrow, so that's going to be a busy day. Be a challenge for our ice making crew to hold the ice throughout that day. So again, fairly very clean end here, and if I'm Bill Hope in this situation, I'm very happy the way this is going, because this certainly looks like playing out to a blank, and Bill will carry hammer home down 1, but with the hammer in the 8th end. Hitting a roll out there, but I don't think Bill's disappointed with that. Mark Franklin's going to draw the house anyway, and it'll be back into a hitting game.
Jim Lyle fell on his last shot.
Oh, no.
He was holding himself coming up home.
Ooh. So the boys from Manitoba sweeping this rock hard, getting it to the top 12. Just again off center line. David Murphy successfully removing that rock and rolling his shooter over to a little further to the left side in the 12-foot. Brent McCannell, an outside in hit there again with that firm weight that we've seen from Brent all morning, and nice little roll back towards the center line again. Craig Mackie with his first rock of the seventh end. And again, boys working on this, which would indicate again a little bit of a turn, but it looks like they've been able to hold it and a hit and roll to the center. Just an update, Jerry, on sheet number 6. Jim Lyle from a host Ontario team slipped and fell on his last rock in the sixth end. He appears to be okay, although he looked a little bit sore when he got up, but gave up 1 to Newfoundland and Labrador. So now host Ontario trails Newfoundland and Labrador 6-4 after 6 ends.
Yeah, that was a nasty fall of Jim's. I caught it out of the corner of my eye. Jim has been nursing that knee of his for about 2 or 3 years now. Keeps getting higher and higher every year.
That's correct. He mentioned it to me yesterday that kind of hurts to get old, he said. So
Needs to throw from a tuck delivery. They last forever.
there you go. There you go.
Lots of people would debate that one. Boy from Saskatchewan learns how to throw that tuck, just sticks with it forever.
Yeah, when I came to Guelph, and Jerry, you were one of those curlers that I first saw out on the curling ice, and that tuck that you've mastered and used for so many years.
So we've got this one just short of the house, but Manitoba's taking no chances. They're just going to peel that off, and as we move towards what Bill hopes is a blank end.
And a further update on sheet number 7, Nova Scotia and Ontario. And Bruce Delaney stole 2 in the 6th end against Steve Ogden, and so that score now is 7-3 for Ontario over Nova Scotia after 6 ends. Bruce had a very tough game last night against Northern Ontario, so rebounding a little bit this morning against Nova Scotia to really trying to bring his record back to 500 after 4 games.
So it looks like Bill Hope is calling for a draw to the back 12-foot here.
Yeah, interesting call. Put it back there, and if Mark, I'm fairly sure Mark will go and try to hit it, and if he rolls out, then Bill can just kind of whip his rock down there. It's always another strategy call, which is the best one, Jerry, where you want to put it, and give yourself the best option when you are throwing that last rock. See if Bill continues to master his draw weight to where he wants this rock to go.
Just noticed that Bill Hope is throwing with a hair broom. It looks to be about 60 years old as well.
I have one of those that looks kind of like that too, Jerry, that I use for throwing, and I always think I used to sweep with that thing as well, and it weighs a ton.
All right, so what do we do here now?
Yeah, there's a very interesting question.
Have a corner guard, which is not what Bill wanted at all.
And it looks like
Manitoba is taking advantage of it. They're going to, I believe, come around that corner guard and try to force.
Try to force here. Yeah, that shot. Bill will be disappointed in that shot that he just threw, because played this end perfect.
Through the rings would have been way better than that.
Absolutely. So we saw Mark Franklin throw a nice weight in the 6th end, so we'll see if he's kept that as we play 7. So the boys are on and off this. Now bending a little harder on those brushes as they go down, so it would indicate the line is pretty good. So a pretty nice shot, Jerry, by Mark, but it is open, and Bill will have a chance here to hit that yellow rock, and he'll have to roll all the way across the house to blank the end, but certainly we know Bill can throw the necessary weight to make that happen. The line will be the real critical thing here. So here, Bill Hope's last rock here in the 7th end. Boys are going hard on this one.
Looks like it's over curling a little bit. Can they roll it out?
Craig Mackie ready to sweep, but no, that rock is going to stay on the 4 foot. So a missed opportunity for Bill Hope on his first rock. And as mentioned earlier, I know Bill won't be happy with that one. As Jerry, you said, it would have been much better just to have that rock throw it through the house.
So we have a tie game coming home.
And Bill Hope will have to steal the win here if he wants to put a W in the column.
Watching this over here, I seem to have a lot of delay going on, but this is the live.
It is.
And the picture's great.
Yeah.
Way better than this.
Yeah,
And we're
okay.
right up to date, so
That's crazy, eh?
yeah. That's good. We may not be many watching right now, but we're recording it, so.
So just an update here as we're getting ready to start the 8th end in our feature game. Update on sheet number 2, Quebec and Alberta, and a lot of rocks in play in the 7th end there. And Fred Armstrong was not able to make a very difficult hit on his last rock, and it meant Quebec stole another one. So Quebec now leads Alberta 5-2, playing 8. So Fred Armstrong will have a task here in the next end. Alberta currently sitting at 2-1 with their record, and Quebec's at 1-2. So if that score plays out, they'll both be in the 500 range, and they'll need to, as they look ahead to their next game, see to get positioning for getting into that championship pool starting on Thursday.
Yeah, that certainly tightens up the race if that plays out that way. So we have our 8th end underway right now. We have center guard up for PEI. And looks like we're calling a tick shot on the center guard.
We haven't seen many of these tried this week, Jerry. This is referred to now in the curling circles as the Weagle. And Lisa Weagle from Rachel Holman's team has pretty well patented that shot, and Terry Aseltine made a very nice shot there.
That's a beautiful shot. Rolled his own ring in, rolled the run to the back behind the tee line.
Yep. So Bill Hope's going to want to put up another centerline guard here to have Mark think about it a little bit more. It'll be interesting whether we see a second tick opportunity if this shot is successfully made by Prince Edward Island.
So well executed center guard again. Manitoba's going up, is asking his lead to do it again. Play it again, Sam. Looked a little tight that time.
Yeah, it was a little bobble there as
Yeah, yeah.
Terry came out of the hack, and this one is, I think, a little bit tighter. So we'll see what transpires. Yeah, Bill's going to be able to sweep this rock through, so that means that the red rock will go back as it was in the free guard zone and was still lead rocks being thrown. So. And the Manitoba stone will come off. So an opportunity here for Bill to go around. I guess he could have, Jerry, another option for him would have been to put a second guard up on the center line, but he feels now maybe it's a chance to go in here and then make Mark throw at that guard and potentially maybe put a better guard on the next time around.
Now that center guard certainly is in a very good position.
Right.
I think I might have been tempted to put another guard up for a second stone.
That would have been my inclination as well. And the boys, this may end up somewhat that way, but I think it's going to give Manitoba an opportunity to peel these guards both out of here just a little bit light.
A little bit light for the draw, a little bit heavy for the guard.
For the guard, exactly. An update on sheet number 8, Northwest Territories and New Brunswick. Northwest Territories scored 1 in number 7, so they now trail 4-3 after 7 ends of play, and New Brunswick will have the hammer coming home.
So we know Gunnlaugson can throw good hit weight, so let's ask him for the double peel.
Broom right on the edge of the rock, so that's we mentioned that earlier this morning, and
big rotation.
Big rotation on the rock. These rocks should spill out of here by a good-looking line here.
Yeah, they're all gone.
And there they go. So just a little heavy on, or a little light on the draw shot that Bill wanted, and gave Mark the opportunity to blast that center. And Bill has to start over again, but from Manitoba's standpoint, the house looks a little bit better right now.
And Manitoba is lying shot rock back here in the edge of the 12
That's
foot.
correct. So that plays through, Jerry. That could be the one that ends up counting, because Mark wouldn't even have to stay around on a hit on a rock that might be in the 4 foot or wherever from Prince Edward Island.
That's correct.
Once again, a nice guard on the center line. Oh, Jerry just pointed out to me on sheet number 1, there was all kinds of rocks in play on sheet 1 between Northern Ontario and Yukon. They took a timeout, Northern Ontario did, and to have a look at the situation, and the score's been posted, and Yukon Territory stole 3 in the 7th end to make that a very close game, 8-7 for Northern Ontario after 7 ends of play. Kudos to the Yukon team for hanging in there.
Well, the Yukon team has been hanging in a lot of their games. They've been very tight.
Absolutely
they played very
correct.
well this week.
Absolutely correct. So here's a peel attempt, and then there's a jam. The rock goes way across over on sheet number 5.
Nobody's playing on sheet number 5,
Nobody's playing
so that's
5.
a good thing.
Yeah, that was a good thing. No hack there, no nothing.
So now this is opportunity back for PEI, because that jammed and then rolled to the top of the 4 foot. So now Bill Hope has an opportunity to put a guard in, and that rock is in a really good position.
There's an update on sheet number 7 with Team Ontario and Team Nova Scotia. Steve Ogden and Nova Scotia scored 1 in the 7th end, so they now trail Bruce Delaney and his Ontario team 7-4 after 7 ends of play.
On sheet 6, host Ontario had an opportunity for 2, and the rock just slid a little bit too far. Only got 1, so they're down. 6-5 coming home without hammer.
Jim will be a little bit disappointed in that one, but certainly know that can steal, so he'll be going hard to steal a point to take his game to an extra end.
So on our sheet, PEI put a long guard up. Manitoba is coming around that guard, ignoring it, and going to try to tap back the one at top button.
So we're at third rocks. Brent McCannell from Manitoba with his first rock. Boys working on this one, bending hard, but I think they've got it by the guard, and indeed they do.
Yeah, that guard was just a little bit too long. Give him opportunity with the ice that curls it does for a nice hack to board weight, come by there and made a nice takeout.
And once again, I'm very impressed this morning with Brent McCannell's weight. He's had real good weight on his hit shots this morning, and they've been able to manage those rocks well, knowing what that weight's going to be. So
now this is a tight throw again. This is going to over curl. It's on that guard already halfway down the ice. The good news is PA now has two center guards up, and it's an opportunity, perhaps.
And they're almost in line, Jerry, which makes a double peel a little more difficult. But I think if Mark elects to do that, and we've got a timeout, so the boys from Manitoba are going to want to look at this one. So timeout called, and they'll go down and have a chat as a team as to what they want to do.
So we have an opportunity here for Manitoba to draw around these two center guards to come to the top forefoot. Puts a lot of pressure on PEI. If not executed well, and PEI has an opportunity to come down and tap back. The smart shot, I think, would be to peel those center guards.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jerry, and I think with Brent McCannell throwing here, he has his as third. As I mentioned earlier, Brent's had really good weight today and good line on shots, so I think they'll that would be the most advantageous for them right now, but certainly still having a discussion.
If he hits that one just over the hog line, just off center, he can roll away and peel those two red ones off and leave Manitoba in a really good position. So it'll come down to how they feel about these last rocks on the last end. But I would be surprised to see Manitoba not peel.
Yeah, very much so, Jerry. We know the boys from Manitoba can bring that weight and those peels. So we'll see what they do here. So check in on their feature sheet. Official Bill O'Rourke, who's been with us all week, along with Kathy Ryan. We really appreciate their help here officiating this event. Thank them for their time and effort. I also want to thank all of our sponsors, Jerry, that have come on board with us here, especially High Grade Roofing Systems as our title sponsor, but all the other sponsors who have helped us out here in Guelph to put this event on this week.
That's for sure. So the boys from Manitoba have decided to come into the house with a draw, leave those center guards up there.
So we'll have something to talk about on this one, won't we, Jerry?
Yeah, that's for sure.
If this is successful or not quite as well as they hope.
Now it looks like this has got lots of weight. It's
this one's running on Brent.
Yeah,
boys are trying to get it to bend with the one broom. They ticked off the corner guard and rolled to the fore. So a little fortunate for Brent McCannell, but
it looks like he had maybe a little extra weight as well, and pushed it out wide, kissed off the one in the center. However, it is wide open.
It is indeed, and Bill, those two center guards that we've talked about that we thought Manitoba may peel
right now.
So we have our first final of the morning, Jerry, on this draw, and Team Quebec has come out hot this morning and defeated Alberta by a score of 7-3. So a good win for the boys from Quebec, and Alberta now will have to go and refocus again as they get ready for their next game. Both those teams now are 2-2, so critical in the next their next game of this round robin for them. So good on Quebec to, as you indicated earlier, I think, Jerry, Quebec again has been playing fairly well and just hasn't quite been able to get it to come together, but this morning they certainly did.
Yes, they certainly came to play this week. So now we have Bill Hope in the hack getting ready for the shot. He's calling for a timeout.
And so we have a timeout on sheet 4 here on our feature game. Bill went down to get ready to throw and then started, I think he had a little conversation with his front end and decided maybe we better come back and have a look at this. So probably the wise thing to do, Jerry, if you're not sure as you get into the hack, you want to get the right frame of mind when you're throwing that rock.
I'm pretty sure he's sure on the call he wants to make, but it's probably the weight he's thinking about, how much weight he wants to throw.
Good point.
Like he can make this with actually a normal weight shot. He can also come back with a back 4-foot weight and just tap it back and sit there, which would be a really good shot as well.
Yeah, good point. So it looks like they're now taking or planning to take a little less ice, Jerry.
Yeah,
so
it looks
maybe
like
playing
he's
a little more weight, as you indicated, one option for them.
Yeah, a little bit more weight. They have lots of time left, so time isn't an issue for them. They both have one timeout left too, so it'll be all up to execution at this point in time.
So we have another final on sheet 7. Team Ontario defeated Team Nova Scotia. I believe Ontario ran Nova Scotia out of rocks. So the score was 7-4 after 7 complete ends. So Bruce Delaney gets his second win and brings his record to 2-2. And we also have a final on sheet number 8, and New Brunswick defeated Northwest Territories by a score of 5-3.
So this rock is trying to curl. Just well thrown rock. It just didn't get enough curl. He only had backline weight too, but didn't finish for him and left it wide open. So now gives Manitoba an opportunity. If Manitoba hits this on the nose, then PEI is going to require a roll in order to get chop raw, or he can play a hit off the other one bite in the 4-foot and come in as well. So no matter what happens, Bill Hope from PEI will have an opportunity with his last rock to get in there and score.
So Mark Franklin's first rock here in the 8th end. Always just dusting this a little bit. Going to make the hit and roll away from the 4-foot, and
that's not a bad shot.
Not all bad at all. That's correct. So Bill has again some decision to make here, and he and Craig Mackie will take a look at this.
So is it a draw or is it a hit and roll?
Well, Bill Hope has had pretty good draw weight most of the morning, so I'm expecting that's what he'll throw, but
yep,
we'll know in a minute.
He's indicating a draw. He's taking ice